when the Night of Cruelties caused a kingdom to be torn asunder. A champion was needed, and a tournament was called. Warriors from all over the world have entered, but only one will be judged worthy of the prize. Are we dead yet?
We may have last left off in the heat of the stadium floor, about to see a duo face off against another duo of villains that were looking a little worse for wear. But we return for the moment to a quiet little breakfast nook in Tesser, the Poached Whale. The food is serviceable and pleasant. There's fruits, cured meats, and little egg tarts that cover the table. On one end is a paradigm of muscle and holy light, and on the other end is a woman that could charitably be described as goth enough to be sinister and unable to blink. Her light pink eyes scan the spread of the table as she chats pleasantly about her time in Brute studying necromancy. The sea air blows pleasantly over the proceedings. It's really nice. Spared no expense. I'm talking Studio Ghibli levels of food aesthetics. So yeah, she's over on the other side. Cindry, as you know, one of the villain squad members. She's dressed in her usual, jet black evening gown that appears to be her main outfit. I don't think any of you have actually seen her fight yet, but she has mentioned that she has, a battle suit that she wears, to an extent. But this is just her in her normal day wear, with a very big hat, kind of one of those large sun hats that kind of covers her features. But you see that Cindry is sitting across from you, and she's asked you kind of how you got into fighting and all of your involvement with that. And she's currently nursing a mimosa.
So Synthia is wearing it almost literally, apart from actual fabric, is a dress made of autumn leaves with no sleeves, and it's just made of autumn leaves. So it's like forest nymphy.
That's cute, yeah. And she appears to enjoy the fashion choice today. And she gives you a little smile and goes, "So I actually meant to tell you I got you a surprise."
Oh, I was not expecting a surprise.
Oh, you don't have to get anything back from me. I'm just really excited to be able to fight you in the finals, and I figured I could, help you expedite that a little bit.
Okay, I like having advantages in battle. Is it like a cool sword or a pretty crown or something cool?
You know what? No, I left all of those in my other boat. But what we can do instead is I already poisoned your competition.
Silence and confusion crosses over Cynthia's face. Lit?
I've interfaced a cursed poison into your competition today, the Great Vision and Trusty Pork. They're going to die. And then you'll win the fight by default.
Okay, so, yeah, that's not cool.
I fail to... I don't fall.
For one thing, killing people is not in my, go-to solutions for winning.
You wield god magic that can literally kill people. I don't understand.
I do that in defense of people, and then I save them with said god power. So, killing... I go to edge, obviously, for morals and stuff. But I try not to take life.
Okay.
And then on top of that, I like to fight fair.
You just asked me for a magic sword or a special crown.
See, that is giving advantage. That is still uneven playing ground, because they have, magic eyeballs and talking pig. So
is this a no on the poison?
This is a very big no.
Oh, I've already done it, though, and I can't really undo it. It's like a curse, so... I wish you'd told me ahead of time.
This is very awkward now.
I've had fun. It's been a good day. I just really already poisoned them. And you can't unpoison the frog. You know what they say? Can't unpoison the frog. That's what people say.
I've never heard that expression.
It's a common Elvish expression. She just cuts you off.
Okay, I'm not versed in Elvish stuff, but I will indeed have to be unpoisoning the frog, as you say. I guess thank you, because that will add extra challenge, which I enjoy, but still not cool.
Okay. you know what? I had a really good time. You're probably just a little peeved because I poisoned your competition. How about you just air out all your anger in the fight? And then when you make it to the finals, after all the finals and I become champion, we can have another date.
Another date sounds great.
Oh, okay. So you're on board with another date, but you're not on board with me poisoning your competition.
Well, I mean, you are very pretty.
Noted.
But,
I'm just trying to get a gauge of where your specific morals are because I'm very confused.
Killing people and poisoning people, bad. You being pretty good.
Okay. Yeah, she smiles a little bit and goes, perfect. I'm very much going to enjoy fighting you. All right. She stands up and she goes, ta-ta. And, feel free to tell your friends that it's an easy victory because I poisoned your competition. She wanders off. As you finish your date with Cindry and realize now that, she's done some questionable things to ensure your victory, you're left with that knowledge as you share it with the rest of your team. And now we flash forward back again to the stadium, where you're facing a very clearly poisoned and not doing well Great Vision and Trusty Pork. Trusty Pork, the awakened pig monk, and then Great Vision, a lady with a bunch of floating eyeballs and an eyeball staff that's wearing a blindfold. They both look unwell. And during this fight, they will likely continue to be unwell and eventually fulfill what Cindry promised in that they will probably die without any kind of intervention. So how do you want to draw the crowd as you start off this fight?
This one's going to be interesting because Synthia is not going to be focused on herself for once. Mm-hmm. Mama Synthia is kicked in and she wants to help these people.
Okay, well, I know what I want to do.
Go for it, dude.
Zach decides. So Blaine, kind of having learned that the competition is less than okay, he's going to ham it up. He's going to, he kind of gets, most of this is, all performance. So maybe he's kind of thinking, okay, yeah, maybe they're poisoned and maybe, that's, just part of, the big show. So what he's going to do is he's going to climb one of these stone pillars and just, really, start flexing and, trying to get the crowd's attention.
So go ahead and roll something that would be relevant to getting the crowd's attention, as the stadium has a weird energy about it. Most people have noticed that the opponents aren't looking well, and I think even Viridia has, the announcer, has kind of keyed into this and gone, it looks like the Great Visions and Trusty Pork did not get up on the right side of the bed today. Hopefully this won't affect their performance in the match.
And that is an 18.
Ooh, okay. So you kind of draw the crowd's attention. And being a more heroic-leaning group, most of the people are what kind of fight is this going to be, right? They're all looking over at you, but they know to expect good things from the boulder. So people are cheering you on, and it looks to be pretty positive.
Okay. First, I would like to... Can I make a Arcana or Medicine would be better check to see if their afflictions seem to be magical in nature or if they are herbal in nature?
You can make either. This is just kind of eyeballing it.
24 in medicine.
Oh, excellent. So on eyeballing it, you think it's twofold. It is magic based and there is a physical component.
Okay. In that case, Cynthia is going to raise her hands up and say that you may not feel well, but this will be an even match for us, my companions. We will all fight on even ground. And she casts Beacon of Hope.
Oh.
The spell bestows hope and vitality. Choose any number of creatures within range. For the duration, each target has advantage on wisdom saving throws and death saving throws and regains the maximum number of hit points possible for any healing.
Oh.
And so she blesses everyone. Herself, the enemy team, and Boulder.
Yeah, so in the center of the match, directly below the floating platform where Viridia delivers her commentary, there's now this little beam, almost like a dewdrop of light that has sprung forth and is kind of providing a pleasant glow in the center of the ring, which is now affecting all of you. The crowd is generally pretty impressed by this sportsmanship, and also taking into account your high roll for medicine. I'd say you have the crowd's favor because at this point, Great Visions and Trusty Pork cannot appeal the crowd; they are too weak.
Aww.
All right, so you guys are going first. What do you want to do?
I'm going to do my best first thing. I'm going to rush forward to the Great Vision, and I'm going to curse her.
Oh. Okay.
So at your touch, all curses affecting one creature or object end. The object is a cursed magic item. Its curse remains, but the spell breaks its owner's attunement to the object, so it can be removed or discarded.
All right, so you run up, and your hands kind of glow, and you close the distance to the Great Visions very easily, and just where do you end up grabbing like her? Do you grab her face or shoulder? Like what's going on?
How is she standing?
She's like putting all of her weight on her eyeball staff.
I lay both hands, like one on her shoulder and one on her forearm.
Oh, okay. So like almost like it's going to be like a throw, and then it just ends up you send the pulse of healing through. So you end up with that pose. You put one on the arm, the other on the shoulder, and a pulse of light runs through her body. And all of the eyeballs flicker and look to you for a moment, and you see reflected in all of the eyes, like you see yourself. And then you also see kind of behind the reflection, like almost like a wriggling looking creature, like some sort of insect or centipede, but then that flash quickly disappears. And you hear so the magic binding this to her has been severed. But the physical aspect of this poison is still in effect. And you hear like a bug clicking noise from like inside of her, which a little gross, and I'm sorry, but yeah, there's something in there.
Okay, that's fine.
So yeah, you remove the curse that's binding this thing inside of her, but it's still there. You know what I mean?
Yes, sir.
All right. So the boulder, what would you like to do?
So I'm up on this pillar, and I've got my net. I went and got a new net from the local store just to replace the one that I threw the grinning tiger with.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to take this net, and I'm going to just try and toss it onto Trusty Pork to kind of help keep him still, so that way we can get him all healed up and feeling better.
All right. And what is that, a dex save on Trusty Pork?
No, the net is actually just an attack.
Oh, go nuts.
Yeah. 16.
Oh, yeah, you definitely hit Trusty Pork with the net. So Trusty Pork is sitting kind of crisscross, floating in the air with like a bunch of rocks spinning around him. And the net just like thuds with an impact and like wraps completely around this large awakened pig and just like flings him to the ground. And he's now like on the ground kind of squirming, but not squirming very hard, just kind of like sad, dying squirms. And you hear like a sad pig noise followed by like oh, I don't feel good. Yeah, so he's just like rolling on the ground, and the crowd is like not disappointed, but like oh no. Like they're like, oh, who let them fight? Like this is not a good thing. And following that, the Great Vision, so for as long as you've known the Great Vision, she hasn't talked. Like she's not the talking kind. However, her mouth opens, and Synthia, you hear Cindry's voice coming from like her like deep inside of her, just going, "What are you doing? I had a whole thing planned. It was very fun. You were going to win very easily, and I would see you in the finals."
Well, that's fucking creepy.
So, Synthia, what do you say?
I am not the cheating kind. I win through my sheer force of awesome. I not need your help. I help these people, and then I will come for you.
You will? Oh, that's so exciting. It's honestly, it's precious. And you see, and this is going to be a little gross, and I apologize, but you see like kind of crawling up out of the Great Vision's mouth, you see like a head kind of peek out, and it's Cindry's head, but like shrunken down and on the end of some sort of bug.
Ooh.
So it's like a tiny little elf lady head with like piercing like pink pale eyes and perfectly coiffed white hair, and it's on the end of some sort of centipede. And without blinking, the little like Cindry voice just goes, "Well, that's a shame." And it crawls back inside, and you see the Great Vision like stretch a little bit and like shake you off, and then all of the eyeballs turn to you, and they all start to like glow and arc out a beam at you. So I need you to make me a wisdom saving throw.
Aha! We all have advantage on those right now.
Yeah, we do.
22.
22. You easily resist what appears to be some sort of like magical beam from these floating eyeballs, and then instead, like as her secondary, she kind of like pushes back a little bit and like plants her staff, and the eyeball in the center of the staff starts to spin rapidly, and it starts to like let loose this little laser that like cuts along the ground. So I need a dex saving throw from you.
Ooh, that's a 7.
Ooh, unfortunate. So you take 18 points of damage, fire damage actually.
Wow.
As this like beam just like cuts a swath and like rips through some like little plates of the armor and just like leaves like a burn mark down the side. And she kind of like has created some distance. And once again, you hear Cindry's voice from inside going like, "You may have broken the curse that's killing Great Visions, but I'm still in charge right now. And this is going to be fun because it's like I get to fight you twice."
Oh, fun.
And that's going to be the Great Vision's turn. Trusty Pork is trapped inside of a net. What kind of roll do you make to get out of a net? Is it athletics, like a grapple?
A strength saving throw, or they can do 5 slashing damage and it'll destroy the net.
He is a monk, so no slashing available. So it's going to be a strength saving throw. And it looks like the Great Visions is able to pull the net off of himself, and while still sort of dying, kind of shambles over to you, Blaine.
You mean Trusty Pork?
Is going to, the Trusty Pork is shambling over very sadly, and is going to try to make some smacks.
Is he climbing the pillar?
Oh yeah. He's like climbing the pillar, which is slowing him down to the point where he can only get one good swing in. So right now there's like where this pig would normally do a sick monk run all the way up the pillar to fight you, and it would be very cinematic. Instead, it's kind of pathetic as he just climbs up the pillar, almost falling off several times until finally he gets just far enough that he can put one hand. This awakened pig has thumbs and hands. I'm sorry. And then swings over with the other arm to an 18 is going to hit you.
18.
Right, and you take
18 meets.
Yes.
So.
And then that's going to be 14 points of bludgeoning damage.
Ugh.
Yeah. So the Trusty Pork is there's no finesse anymore. It's literally just the weight behind it. So right now the Trusty Pork is hanging off of a pillar, and the Great Visions is holding a staff that's like creating this like spinning like Legend of Zelda style laser, and the crowd is like starting to warm up again. They're like, oh, okay, it's like a fight now. It's not like a pathetic beatdown. All right, so as this is going on, you, those of you in the stands, right, the rest of the team, Wafflez, you get a small tap on your shoulder.
Okay. Wafflez is gonna turn around, see who it is.
It's Do-Re-Mi, the 3 mice in a trench coat.
Okay, so Wafflez is gonna look around first, make sure if anyone notices, and then leans in and whispers, "What do you want? What are you doing here?"
Oh, sorry. We didn't mean to come while you were at work. The final plan is ready.
Okay.
We just got word that if you make it to the Battle Royale, all you have to do is win, and then you could take over the city. We'll explain later. And they like immediately collapse, take their trench coat with them, and then disappear.
Okay.
And Takeru and Dirk, you see 2 people approaching you. They are 2 lizard folk. One of them is tiny and has a big spoon, and the other one is large and has a cauldron that's kind of like strapped like an apron to his front, and he's much bigger. It's Glim and Glob.
My 2 favorite people. What can I help you with?
So Glim, who's the little one with the spoon, like he's a little grumpy, but they get close and they're like, so we got knocked out of the fight in one of the rounds the other day, but we saw that your team is doing really well, and we respect aesthetics of eating and drinking, so we wanted to give you like some hope and support that your team can win this one too. Because if there's going to be somebody out there repping the finals, we want to see people that are like food forward, you know. And there's the other thing too. I think, and this is just what I've heard. And Glob kind of nods and goes, "Yeah, this is what we've heard." I think whoever wins the full champion title, not just like the champion team, because the champion team gets like, you know, they're the champion team. They get their lives basically paid for. They get a nice cushy job being the reigning champions. But the full champion gets to do something nice for their patron. And they get a nice, all the nice digs and everything. And they turn to Dirk and to you, Takeru, and they go, "I think, hopefully, if you win the full championship, you can create your own restaurant. Either of you, either a party spot or like a food spot, and we'd like to be involved. We'd like to work for you guys."
And Takeru's gonna be on the verge of holding back tears. Be like, "I was thinking the exact same thing," and look over to Glim and Glob and be like, "Thank you so much."
Yeah, it took fighting with our soup in the stands to realize that we have a begrudging respect towards the 2 of you.
And I gotta say, I was licking my fingers after that little altercation, and that soup was delicious.
It's good soup. But yeah, they have humbly requested that either of you become the full champion so that you can use your patron prize pool basically to create a new restaurant for them to work in.
Oh boy. While this is happening, Wafflez is just like rolling their eyes and shaking their head over the emotionalness of these humanoids. Ridiculousness.
So with that being said, we return once more to the stadium floor, where each of you are going to roll to appeal to the crowd. Because right now you do deal that 10 extra damage, but you can increase your appeal. It looks like because Trusty Pork is still poisoned, and Great Visions is currently being puppeted from the inside by a centipede with a lady's face on it. They are not trying to appeal. They're just literally focused on hurting.
So the trusty pork is up here on the pillar with me, right?
Sort of. He's got like one arm holding himself up on the end of the pillar that you're standing on, and he's swinging with the other arm and hit you in the shin just recently.
Gotcha. Okay. I think I'll just do an acrobatics check and just do a front flip over him to try and land on the ground and just be like, haha, can't touch me.
Hell yeah. Go for it.
Oh, God. That's a 9.
Oh, that is unfortunate. So while the other team is not competing against you in appeal, if you both fail your appeal will go back to neutral. Keeping that in mind. So you try to do a sick front flip over the trusty pork to land on the ground again. But what really happens is you take one step forward too far and actually step on the trusty pork's face and then do the front flip. So it throws off your rhythm and you just land and stumble a little bit and catch yourself. And the trusty pork immediately slips and falls off the tower and takes 10 points of damage.
Oh, shit. So Synthia is going to basically offer a very verbal prayer to Saint Abria in an attempt for some more holy backing in this endeavor to help these people, as she definitely feels that it's her fault that these people are now put in a actual life or death risk. So I guess I'll make a religion check. I've got a 5 in religion.
Okay, so you both fail your appeal, so it goes back to neutral. As the crowd just sees you praying in front of a laser spinning eyeball wizard lady, so they're a little confused. They're like, I thought this was going to be an easy fight or a really sad blowout. What is going on? As each of you kind of has your own stumbles, and you end up going second.
Got it.
So the trusty pork has fallen off and taken some damage. He lifts himself up a little bit, stumbles forward, and just goes, don't feel good, and just starts floating in the air. And where normally this would be a time to do some sick Dragon Ball Z flash kicks as a monk pig would do, instead he just sort of floats forward Superman posed for a little bit and then falls to the ground again and then gets up and lunges at you, the boulder. So I need you to roll me an athletics check.
Hey, 18.
18. All right, let's see how we do on our end. 16. So you're able to counter the grappling attempt by the trusty pork and fling him off. And you see as he shoots backwards, he's definitely in pain and has taken some damage from just acting. And kind of looks over to you with kind of glazed over eyes. And you hear a light clicking sound from inside of him. And his mouth opens, and instead of the trusty pork's voice, you just hear a quiet voice from inside of his body just going oh, this is a disappointing host. I'll have to do better next time. Hello? Just after the little hello, the voice returns to normal, and the trusty pork looks a little cross-eyed as he teeters and almost falls over. Following that, the Great Visions has that little laser light show going on. All of the floating eyes around her all turn to Synthia once more. This time, give me a Constitution saving throw.
21.
21. You feel your muscles tighten and almost begin to stiffen, almost as if you were being paralyzed, but you manage to tough it out and undo the magical effect. And then instead, the Great Visions turns, and almost like a lighthouse being focused, just flicks the eyeball, and it spins around and lands directly towards trying to hit you, Synthia. So give me another dex saving throw.
13?
13? Ah, that's just enough. You don't take any damage as you manage to roll out of the way of this laser. You have a feeling that you're either going to have to get rid of the staff or do something to close the distance if you want to stop the Great Visions. All right, it's the two of you all's turn.
First, I'm going to utilize my bonus action to summon my spiritual self in the form of my spiritual weapon. She is going to appear right behind the Great Vision.
3 of the floating eyes turn around and focus on her.
Can I separate her attack from what I do next?
What do you mean?
I summoned her, but can I have her attack after I do?
Yeah, you can have her attack afterwards.
I would like to cast Silence.
Ooh.
On the Great Vision. So for a 20-foot radius around her, centered on her.
Okay.
Any creature or object entirely inside the sphere is immune to thunder damage, and creatures are deafened while entirely inside it. Casting a spell. Oh no, that's not what I wanted to do, because that would break my concentration on Beacon of Hope. I meant to do.
It would, yes.
My bad. I want to do blindness and deafness instead.
Oh, oh no.
So I'm choosing to blind.
Yeah, that's probably a good call.
Make a Constitution saving throw.
All right. I don't think a 12 is enough.
It is not. You are blinded for 1 minute.
On a person whose eyes you can see that aren't behind a blindfold, this spell would blind them. But because the Great Visions has several floating eyeballs and an eyeball staff, it affects all of it. So the Great Visions, who presumably can kind of see through like all of the floating eyeballs, all of them just kind of cloud over and become like blank spheres, as well as the eyeball that's shooting a laser on her staff. That also kind of blanks out completely. And the Great Visions, you see kind of stumble around a little bit confused.
So at the end of each of her turns, she can continue to make the Constitution saving throw.
Okay, sounds good. She's also actually, she's not taking damage because you got rid of the curse part of the poison, so she's just being controlled. Yes, so...
So, Spiritual Weapon Synthia is now going to try... You're allowing me to get creative with this stuff, right?
Yeah. Like, if you want your attack to be like a wrestling move rather than a punch, that's perfectly valid.
Cool. I want her to try and actually pin the Great Vision.
Oh, sick. All right, so go ahead and roll your attack. This is going to be pretty simple because you have advantage because right now the Great Vision is blind.
With advantage?
Yeah, with advantage. Go for it.
I rolled pretty well. I just wanted to show. That is a 20.
Oh, all right. So, spiritual floating weapon, Synthia. As soon as all of the eyes just go completely blind, the Great Vision just kind of stumbles around a little bit. And spirit weapon, Synthia, kind of walks up behind her, the Great Visions, lifts her up out of the air, and then like brings her down, like tilting her 90 degrees to the ground, and then like holding her in a pin. And although technical like pin knockouts are possible in the Stadium Raji, they haven't necessarily happened yet. But between the fact that the Great Visions is blinded and being like puppeted by somebody else, the resistance that she's attempting to do is not the same as it would be. So you see one of the clerics come up and start counting down to 6 seconds.
Ooh, that's
all right.
More than I wanted out of
Boulder.
it. Nice.
Yeah.
I'm going to real quick use my movement to get to, or for Synthia to actually walk up to the Great Vision, and on my next turn, I'm going to try and remove the centipede from her throat.
Ooh, okay, cool.
Now that I know that's
so next turn, the cleric is going to go to count down, and you're going to try to remove the centipede.
Yes.
All right, sounds good. Boulder, Blaine, what are you doing?
Yeah, so I heard Cindry's voice. Do I recognize it as her voice? Because I've heard her talk before.
Yeah, you recognize Cindry's voice coming from inside Trusty Port.
I'm gonna look at this awakened pig and then kind of look over at Synthia, and I'm just gonna be like, hey, this pork kind of sounds like that lady you went on a date with.
Yes, she has evil centipede inside of pork and vision. We have to try and get them out to save their lives.
Necromancers, always fun. Should I like? You think if I like punch them in the stomach enough, like they'll spit it out?
Synthia shrugs.
Oh, that's going to be a bad look.
Truly some medical doctors here.
Yeah. Look, Blaine only has a hammer, so he only knows everything looks like a nail. No,
My
actually,
healing punches.
Healing punches.
No, I've got it even better. Instead of punching the centipede out of him, I will attempt to grapple. Oh.
So fun fact about awakened pigs, they are naturally resistant to grappling, but you can try.
Oh. Well, shoot. Because, pig chasing. I gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The bit writes itself. But yeah, you can go ahead and try. It's just going to be a little harder.
Yeah. Roll with disadvantage then, or?
Yeah, roll with disadvantage to try to grapple Trusty Pork.
Okay. Let's see. First roll's a 17, second roll's a 13.
All right, so with a 13, let's see how we do. So you are actually able to grapple the Trusty Pork. So at first it feels like your Pork is going to slip out of your grasp, but if you remember, Trusty Pork is currently like being afflicted by a wasting curse and is being puppeted by a centipede. So most of the reflexes and ability to wiggle out of situations just aren't there like they used to be. So Blaine kind of scoops up behind and pulls a suplex that just like flings over Trusty Pork over Blaine's head, because Blaine's pretty strong. It's pretty simple to like lift this giant pig over your head, and you flip it over and you hear a crash as you both land on the ground. And the Trusty Pork is looking mighty dazed as you have him pinned with your grapple.
Okay. I was going to then action surge.
Ooh.
And basically what I was trying to do with the grapple was try to get my arms around to, like, from... I'm behind him, like his back is on my chest. My arms are around him, pressing into his stomach. I was going to action surge and then take my... use that to basically do an unarmed attack as kind of like pressing on the stomach.
Are you going to try and Heimlich him?
Yes.
So you twist around after the suplex. You like very quickly flip your body over, twist around, wrap arms around the stomach, and just squeeze. Go ahead and roll an attack for me.
Sure. That's a 23.
So with a 23, you go ahead and roll damage, actually. This is important. No pressure.
12.
12. So I set a threshold. If you were able to deal 10 damage, you were able to kind of break the centipede on the inside. And you met that threshold. So as you roll around and like just really hard, you hear probably a few cracked ribs as you squeeze. And an additional snapping and cracking noise that did not sound like bones. And in the stands, you hear a little shout, like of pain. And you look over and you see Cindry is like kind of holding her temple. Like you just snap something out. So right now I will tell you that the physical component that is affecting Trusty Pork has been shattered. However, Trusty Pork is still being affected by the wasting curse, so he is still taking damage every turn.
Cool.
And right now he is looking bloodied.
I've still got 1/3 level spell slot left. Can do this. Like, can save.
So it is now. So as you wrap up this turn, right, like the round has like shifted wildly as you run over, twist over Trusty Pork, flip him backwards, and then like get your arms around his stomach and squeeze, and you definitely break some things, but you also break an evil centipede. And then following that, Synthia like does the very cool like combo of blindness and then like magical spiritual weapon self showing up behind to deliver a quick twist around, lockdown and pin. So it's worked out like really efficiently between the two of you. Like these opponents, obviously they're like weakened and they're like poisoned and stuff, but like the crowd is seeing a lot of technical prowess on display, and that's not going to waste. People are like actually cheering now, because mostly they want this fight to be over because it looks like the kind of fight where it's going to be a washout. At least it's going to be quick. So following that, you see over in the stands, and this is kind of like a cutaway. You see somebody dressed in blue sit down next to Cindry and have a quick conversation, and Cindry nods. And none of you are nearby to hear this, but she goes, "Yes, you will have your big hero moment, and you will rescue the queen, and everyone will think, oh, what a great guy you are. It will be very fun for you." And the man dressed in blue with like this feathered headdress just kind of goes like, Good. This is going to be my chance to be back on top." And he gets up really quickly, dusts himself off, and heads out into the like food and like bathroom areas and leaves the stadium. All right, so I will say at this point you can try to roll crowd appeal, but since you each have your opponents pinned, what you can do instead is each of you roll an athletics to see if you're able to maintain a pin, and then from there like we'll just move forward because right now the crowd likes you again.
Okay. Would I still roll with disadvantage since the pig thing?
I will say Trusty Pork is looking a little mighty dazed from the fact that you just pulled that crazy maneuver. So you can just roll a regular roll. 22. All right. So Synthia walks up and combined with the spirit self helps pin down Great Visions, who has dropped the staff at this point. The boulder has additionally like maintained the grip, like a vice, like tight grip on the stomach and probably broken ribs of Trusty Pork. A couple of the clerics are coming forward because they've like, usually it's like the rounds are decided by like actual knockout, not technical like grappled knockout. But it looks like this match might be decided by that, which most people are relieved, especially with how bad your opponents are looking. So you rush over and do all that. So you guys get to go first.
Cool. I would like to perform my medicine check to remove the centipede.
All right.
21.
21. So you kind of do a similar maneuver to Blaine, where you wrap hands around the stomach and squeeze. But this time it looks like Cindry's ready for it because, like, instead of hearing like the crack of like the centipede being snapped on the inside, she kind of emerges outward, and you see her little like face on the centipede, and then the face just morphs back into a normal centipede face as it attacks you.
Oh, so I'm getting attacked by a normal centipede. Oh shit.
Yeah, so just a normal giant centipede inside of a person. So that's a nat 20. So that's a critical hit on centipede bite.
Ow.
So Synthia, you're going to take 14 points of
Holy
damage,
crap.
and I need a Constitution saving throw.
That's a 10.
That's a 10. In addition to the 14 points of piercing, you also take 18 points of poison damage. And you start to get a little woozy, but you do definitely, like, the centipede has flown out of Great Visions, and Great Visions just collapses unconscious.
Well, despite all that, I still have my beacon of hope up, so that's good.
You do, and your spiritual weapon is up as well. Do you want to use it?
Yes. Spiritual weapon is going to beat the shit out of this giant centipede now for a 22 to hit.
Excellent. Yeah, you absolutely hit. Go ahead and roll your damage.
That's 5 force damage.
All right. So the centipede itself hits really hard, but isn't exactly meant to be very sturdy. It's kind of fragile and held together by curse magic. So by removing the curse, you've removed a lot of its defenses. So your spiritual weapon literally runs up and soccer kicks the centipede, and it flies into the air and disintegrates.
Sweet. Thank God. Full disclosure, I have 4 hit points left.
Oh, that would have been bad, yeah. That could have been real bad. All right. Meanwhile, currently in the midst of undergoing curse damage, basically, the trusty pork is pinned down by the boulder. What are you doing?
Yeah, I don't want to do any more damage to him because I think I've done what I needed to do. I think I'm just gonna
just maintain the.
I think I'm gonna try and maintain the grapple, but stand up and just walk over to Cynthia and just be like, "Got another one for you."
so you just get up. And you get up, and as you do, you hear the trusty pork just kind of grumble a little bit and go oh, I'm in so much pain. What's happening? And you just get up and walk over, still holding the pig in under one arm with the best of your ability. And you sit down next to Cynthia and go we'll just hang out here. And it basically looks like the fight's over. Combined with your beacon of hope. Actually, I need you to roll concentration to see if you keep it up.
I actually did. That's why I said I made it. I rolled a 22 to maintain it. So.
Ooh, excellent. So yeah, you're fine. So due to the beacon of hope, what normally the trusty pork would within the next turn just die from curse damage, but the beacon of hope keeps him alive long enough for you to burn your final remove curse, and both of your opponents are now just lying unconscious on the ground, looking very hurt. But after a little bit, Viridia looks over the scene, confers with some of the clerics on the edges of the arena, and floats over and addresses the crowd once more. It looks like, after a merciful, short round of kicks and grapples, these members of the Breakfast Club have brought a fitful rest to the Great Vision and Trusty Pork.
Brunch
and we
Club.
thank them for it.
Brunch Club.
Oh, I'm sorry, was it Brunch Club?
Brunch.
She leans over the floating platform. Is it Brunch Club?
Yeah, Brunch Club.
So,
I believe.
Sorry, I got the memo this morning. You guys weren't specific about your name before. I wanted to.
Yeah, Breakfast Club, I believe, is already copyrighted. So just.
You know what? You're right. We take our intellectual property law really seriously in Tesser. That's why we only sell meat tubes. And she gets back up again onto the thing. Just kidding. It's the Brunch Club. Would you believe it? We're already close to lunchtime, and everyone cheers. And the fight draws to a close.
Huzzah!
Yeah.
We did it.
Yay!
Hooray.
So the Great Vision and Trusty Pork both survive their encounter. And
The important part.
Cynthia is able to remove the wasting curse on each of them. So they're taken away by the clerics, and you return to the locker room.
Cynthia is very visibly winded.
That was a hell of a show you two put on down there.
I mean, thanks, but I almost kind of felt bad. I mean, they didn't really fight back, and then they started...
No, I mean, that was impressive. Not only did you make it look like you fought them, but you actually saved both their lives.
I mean, yeah, that was pretty cool. It freaked me out when they started talking with that goth lady's voice.
Yeah, that was skin crawling.
And you hear from behind one of the lockers, "Did you say skin crawling?" And Cindry pokes her head out from the side, and she leans over. "Ah, hi."
Hi, friend.
You think so? That's good. I'm excited for... Oh, they probably haven't told you. I think you guys made enough points. You're going to be facing my team in the finals, the very final battle royale.
Cool.
My deadly nightshade. Why did you do this? This is...
You have a nickname for me? That's so sweet. Because I intend to become the champion.
Well, yeah, that's more than fair. But why would you make it so obvious of a cheat?
Oh, what do you mean? They just got really, really sick. Sometimes between the food here and the constant partying, some people aren't cut out for that kind of life.
The insects even had your face on them.
Oh, that was only for you. That was a little illusion I added for fun.
Oh, okay. Synthia getting clouded between how cute she is and how furious she is at the fact that she just cheated and tried to kill two people is stumbling on words right now.
To quote that one tweet, they're morally gray if they commit crimes and are hot.
Oh, that's so true.
But she smiles at all of you. This is all of you in the locker room. And she just goes, "Well, I would wish you luck, but it won't be a fair fight. I don't even have to poison you. I just know I'm going to win."
Damn, what a bitch.
Quick question. How long until the fight against Cindry's team?
It's going to be 2 days. Actually, pretty soon the commissioner is going to come down to the locker room and tell you how the final fight's going to work.
Okay, cool.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I have something I want to do between now and the fight.
For sure.
Before she leaves, Cynthia is going to be like, as much as I find your enthusiasm and self-confidence incredibly attractive, we're going to have to beat you.
Well, it was really nice knowing you.
Oh.
But who knows? Maybe I'm due for, a small bump in my importance in this city. After I become champion, maybe I'll keep you around. I think that'd be fun.
And I lean over to Takaru and just be like, "Are these fights supposed to be to the death? Because I haven't been killing anybody."
Yeah, have we been doing it wrong?
No, so if for reference, and this is out of character, there are clerics on the corners of the arena that run up and cast Spare the Dying. Nobody's died unless it's by there was during the last champion, the last set of fights before the Night of Cruelties, there was a team that was one of the members was called Smiler Bean, and had a creepy smiling mask and a poison sword, and was actively trying to kill people, but after a couple of fights of trying to do that, they were caught actively poisoning their blade and kicked out.
Oh yeah, no, Blaine's just an idiot and just actually is thinking he's been doing it wrong.
No. Sure, you're not doing it wrong. You're fine. Cindry leaves, and almost as if a fun little oh, this is the team you're gonna fight in the future. You see the silhouettes of all the other members of her team. The butler is not in silhouette; he's in full light, and he looks like shit still. He's just an old man who's falling apart. But behind her, you see a dragon-like shape, and a lizard folk shape, and a shape that's just a big suit of armor. You just see these silhouettes in the background as she leaves. And she turns around, she's like, "I'm going to go meet with the commissioner, with my team, and they'll explain how the final fight's going to work, and then they'll send you in, and you'll talk to the commissioner. It'll be very fun. All right, ta-ta," and she leaves.
Cynthia sits down, and she's like, "I am so confused right now. Feelings go one way, morality goes the other way. It is so shitty. But we have to beat it."
I did warn you not to get any crushes on people that you have to crush, so just saying.
Yeah, fraternizing with the enemy. You reap what you sow.
Thanks for the moral support. But, that really clears
Hey guys,
everything.
I'm really conflicted about having to fight this goth. I could really use your support. I hope you fail. I hope I know that I could have done something to prevent your fall, but I didn't.
Hey man, I feel you. She's hot, but you gotta smash in a different way.
Wafflez is just going to interject in the corner because Wafflez is always in the dark corner of the locker room being like,
Oh, plotting.
yeah.
Excellent.
Just they're like, human emotions are stupid. And that's it. That's all.
You hear the door slide open, and walking out is Viridia. She's got tan skin, long dark curly hair. She's got her cape that looks like stained glass, and her little like spear / microphone that has stained glass designs on it. And stepping up behind her is a woman dressed in like pretty simple armor, with a quiver just full of multicolored arrows and a bow slung on her back. And she's got a very official looking like sort of half cloak situation going on. And this is the commissioner of the Stadium Raji. This is Iris. Iris became the commissioner after the previous commissioner, a man named Undin, was ousted for collaborating and supposedly being a part of the Night of Cruelties, although it's unclear if it was like unrelated or they just wanted to get rid of him or whatever ended up happening. This Undin fellow, known as Undin the Blue Heron, was ousted, and Iris took over running the fights. So she's been the one kind of like setting up the matchups and making all the rules and everything. And she walks in after presumably talking to Cindry's team. And she goes, "So brunch, it's the brunch club, right? I was talking to Viridia about it."
Yes.
Okay, good. And is your mascot in the corner brooding gonna come too?
Oh, yeah, Wafflez.
Wafflez will be along. Wafflez does what Wafflez will do.
Good. All right. You would not imagine how difficult it is to set up a fight like this and stop people from killing each other.
Yeah, I just worked really hard to make sure we didn't kill anybody today, so I know.
Oh no, that was noticed. If Cindry's team didn't already have the prerequisite point amounts to make it to the finals, she would be sanctioned and lose points. But if that were to happen, we wouldn't have anyone available to actually fill in the slot, and we need a battle royale happening. So we'll be keeping a close eye. Our clerics are going to make sure she doesn't do anything ridiculous, such as poison people with giant centipedes. But no, how are you guys doing? How are you liking the tournament? What's going on?
Well, I was liking it until I saw people getting poisoned and no actions taken by the governing bodies of the tournament following through with punishments for those actions.
Yeah, no, you're gonna have to forgive me on that end. Unfortunately, it's kind of out of my hands. But no, it's fine. You don't have to forgive me, because all it is it means that the crowd hates her even more. So when you guys presumably win, because you've been kicking ass the whole time, people are going to be even more excited.
This is going to be an interesting fight, and I look forward to it.
Yeah, I think so. I actually, after the fight, we're planning on just arresting her for various crimes, but we feel like the crowd would kind of revolt if she didn't get to at least participate. She's something of a favorite.
But what if she becomes champion? Could you arrest the champion? Then you'd have to redo the whole tournament again, right?
She looks at you all very closely and goes, "You're not going to let her become champion, are you?"
I mean, presumably not.
You're not going to let her pull anything sneaky and curse us.
Well, she already stated
no,
she's
you
not
guys
going
will
to do that.
Yeah, we have her under contract, and she is going to spend some jail time. She's just going to also participate in the fight.
Oh,
So you guys should be fine.
I'll have to bring flowers.
You're not going to let crazy McCenipede lady become champion, are you?
Probably not.
Okay, good. I just needed like a positive affirmation that you guys were going to kick ass and take names. Good. It's good. So talk to me here. What do you know about the championship battle royale?
Jack Diddley.
It's
you
a
know what?
championship and a battle royale.
Okay, you're pretty on the money there. It's your full team. No more duo or trio matches. It's all 5 of you against all 5 of Cindry. Oh, Cindry and her 4 companions.
Good. Pretty standard. Like, you know.
So you say standard, but not really. You know the platform that Viridia is usually on?
Uh huh.
Viridia is actually going to be spectating and commentating from the Queen's box during the final Battle Royale because there's a secondary win condition to winning the Battle Royale, and it is getting hold of the Champion's Scepter. It's going to be on a floating platform, some 60 feet above the arena. If you can get up there, you can get the staff and take it down to the ground and smash it in the center of the arena without it being, taken away from you or you being knocked out cold or possibly killed, then, you'll become champion. We'll basically set it up so that there's a winning team, and then there's a champion. So, worst comes to worst, if it ends up where you guys defeat all of Cindry's champions, and it's just you guys fighting against each other to become the full champion, then that'll still have to go down, but the rest of you all will be part of the championship roster.
Oh.
So, I don't know, just decide if one of you is going to be champion, or if you all want to fight over it in the ring. That'd be cool. Just please make sure Cindry doesn't become champion.
Well, don't worry. Cindry is mine.
She can't fly,
Right.
can she?
No.
No, then we're fine.
Yeah, and I don't think... she stops and goes, I think at least one person on Cindry's team could fly.
That's unfortunate.
Yeah, you should probably keep that in mind. And she kind of looks like she's holding something back, and it kind of pieces together why she's I'm not going to arrest Cindry right away.
Can we tell that?
Yeah, you can roll insight to see what she's holding.
I got an 18.
18.
I see through all the bullshit.
Yeah, main reason she's not arresting Cindry is likely because she's also working with Cindry but does not like her. She is planning something with Cindry that requires that Cindry not be arrested. But she does not like Cindry's methods.
I got a nat 20.
Oh, shit.
Ooh, even better. You get a feeling that the former commissioner is something of a thorn in Iris's side. And Cindry is part of some sort of plan having to do with dealing with that former commissioner.
Look, Commissioner. You can be honest with us. You can tell us what's really going on.
So, how long you been on the payroll? Wink, wink.
I am the payroll, actually. Helped rescue the Queen during the Night of Cruelties.
Yes, that is all fair and good, but you know what I'm putting down.
Let's put it this way. I may have gotten Cindry to convince a certain former member of the Fighting Commission that he's going to look like a really big hero soon. And that's going to draw him out in the open, alongside of a bunch of paperwork leading back to him basically planning to commit treason. So, yeah, I can't arrest Cindry because I need that plan to go through. But I also don't want her to be champion, so that's where you guys come in.
Well, perhaps you should provide us with some kind of advantage to ensure that we win. Maybe like a grappling hook so I can get up onto that platform, or like one of them fancy drinks that makes you fly.
She looks over to Viridia and goes, it's weird. I think I just heard like a bird inside of this locker room asking me, commissioner of the fight, to give them an unfair advantage in a sanctioned royal tournament. And, that bird would be asking something ridiculous of me if such a bird were to exist and were to, tweet such statements at me. But, I would also tell that bird that if they were looking for some sort of unfair advantage, there's a whole town out there of things to buy or use or steal that maybe might help in such a situation. Knowing full well, of course, that Cindry has the same information about how this match will play out. But, such a specific bird probably doesn't exist.
Right.
Right.
All right, now that we're on the same page, you know that Cindry is part of an elaborate sting operation, but she's kind of a nightmare and pretty morally dubious.
Definitely so.
Just, do what you've been doing this whole time and just win all the matches.
So they looks at the team. Yeah, I think we can do that.
Yeah, sounds easy enough.
Yeah, maybe, Verity did add a bunch of hair to my costume. Maybe she could add some wings.
I'm sure we can get Wafflez a full-blown flying onesie.
An Aarakocra onesie.
Oh my god.
Oh my god.
But
It would just
but
look
it's
like
like a
he's wearing
bald
like
eagle
a
or something.
skinned Aarakocra.
Oh
I was gonna
boy.
say bird people are around. You do. It's like getting it would be the same as getting a human onesie for Waffle, because like Aarakocra are around and do trade and commerce in Tesser. But we'll see. The commissioner leaves, followed by Viridia, and the two of them head on outside. And Owl with a little hat, standing on top of a garbage can, is like pissing you.
Me?
Yeah.
Okay, Wafflez is gonna sneak on off then. Walk over to the owl.
All right. The owl leads you down a couple of alleys until you meet up with the Animal Liberation Front. Bro the owl, Maria the cat with the eye patch, and the three mice in a trench coat, as well as Zenko the thrice cursed and once damned. I believe is the name I gave him. He's the edgy rabbit with a vest. And all of them are there, and Maria is looking very excited.
Yes, what is it?
So we found something out.
Oh, what is it? Spit it out.
The Scepter of the Champion. It lets you make a decree when you win.
Oh, does
And
it?
guess what everyone in that stadium will have eaten by the end of it?
The meat tubes.
You can influence everyone in the city easily if you become champion. You can change laws. You can make yourself ruler of Tesser.
Yes, and we will make all the humans our slaves.
Yeah. Zenko's like, I don't know about, can we change the optics on calling them slaves? I don't know if I like that.
Yes, and what would you rather call them then?
I was going to call them wage laborers.
Oh, so pretty much the same thing they already are.
Like, we're going to pay them, but we're not going to pay them enough to live, so it's always going to be like an upward struggle.
Wait, is this the origin of Amazon?
That's even more fucked up!
Yeah, it's all run by animals.
Fantasy Amazon?
Bezos is three mice in a trench coat.
Yeah, Maria like takes out a chart. She's like, yeah, the optics are important. We have to make sure that the humans understand that they chose this. This wasn't something that was forced upon them.
Always give them hope, but never live the dream.
Yes, exactly. We'll make them think that there's a dream of upward mobility, but there isn't.
Oh my god.
All the animals start like
Evil
cackling
laughing.
alongside you. Yeah. And all the mice are like laughing, but it's like interspersed and like switching between all of them. It's like ha 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 ha. Maria is doing the laugh from the anime where like it's like a princess or whatever, and she has the hand up to her mouth. And
It's
she's
the
like, oh,
yeah.
yeah, that. Yeah, so everyone has a different evil laugh. Zenko isn't laughing; he's just vaping aggressively.
The clouds is his laugh.
Yeah, like
Every
the
time
clouds
they
fall into the shapes of like ha 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 ha. It's great.
come out. Okay. Gotta get the scepter.
All right. In the midst of evil Amazon being formed, we return to everyone else. Is anyone else doing anything as the evening comes around and you guys get ready to rest?
Oh yeah, so Dirk, for the next 2 days, is gonna host a 48-hour no-sleep, all-out party.
Oh, sick.
During this entire party, he is finding influential people throughout Tessir,
Mm-hmm.
and he's giving them free drinks in exchange for them sharing the bad word about Cindry to all the people.
Oh, I like that. Go ahead and roll persuasion.
Okay. Could I roll, like, acrobatics? Because I'm way better at that.
So you're saying you
No,
go up
that's
to
a joke,
influential
that's a
people, you tell them a rumor, and then you do some sick backflips to give yourself credibility?
Yeah, actually, let's try that.
You know what? You can roll acrobatics and persuasion.
Okay. Well, I've already rolled persuasion.
Okay.
So I've got a 5 for persuasion,
Okay.
but a 21 for... I can't really give them a good reason to do it,
Okay.
but
so,
I'm kind of thinking that doesn't matter because I just did my first triple backflip without spilling my drink.
yeah, so you meet some of the town gossips, right? Because your sponsor runs a bunch of parties, so obviously the town gossips are going to be around. And a couple of them are like, I don't know if that's a good enough rumor to start, because I don't know if you know this, but everyone thinks Cindry's really hot. She's like the only goth on the island. But, there's still a couple of gossips that are willing to spread any rumor no matter what. And then seeing the triple backflip, they go, Dirk may literally have the title of the drunkard, and I have to take what they say with a grain of salt. But I could spread some rumor. So you get some people talking bad about Cindry, but not not everyone's on board. Most people are like Cindry hot, brain empty.
Okay.
Not totally one of those. No, not at all.
No, not even for realsies.
So then, sort of because this is like a 2-day long party. So sort of like in a response to that, on day 2, I'm going to be giving out more free drinks, and getting some of the more attractive residents of Tessir to go full goth.
That's very good. Oh, that's awesome. Go ahead and roll persuasion with advantage.
Okay, that's good. I got a 7 and a 7.
So you start the trend of being goth in Tessir, but it's just starting to take off. So it's not like there's no other elves or humans or anything that are like in full like goth outfits that can stand a chance against the peak goth that is Cindry. So unfortunately, what ends up happening is most people just get like really bad haircuts or really cool hats, or start wearing a lot of eyeliner, and it's all like disparate pieces of the goth outfit, but no one is wearing a full goth outfit. They're just like slowly incorporating it into their own style. So you have adjusted the style profile, but not in the way that you've intended.
So what you're saying is I was trying to bring Hot Topic to Tessir, but we got Spencer's instead.
Yes, yeah. You did not get the full Hot Topic experience. You instead got like a Spencer's with a whimper.
All right, I'll take it.
All right. Everyone else, you do have a cool 2 days to do something to prepare for this final match. So what would you all like to do?
So Blaine would like to head to Verity real quick with like his costume all bundled up in his arms, sets it down on her counter and just says, "It needs wings."
She looks at you and like one of her eyes, she just like her eyes open wide. What do you mean it needs wings?
I want to fly. The flying boulder.
You do realize that you're like a high flying Goliath wrestler, right? Like your gimmick is that you jump so good that it looks like you're flying. I can't add wings in 2 days.
Well, maybe we could, I don't know, instead of the hair, put some feathers, just make it look more bird-like.
Roll a dex saving throw.
Dex?
Yes.
Oh, God. That's a 10.
She slaps you in the face and goes, "Fucking feathers, what are you talking about?" No, we'll tell you what we're going to do. And she goes over and takes the boots off of your outfit.
Oh, no.
She's going to take my boots?
Yeah, she goes, "Come back in 2 days. I'll have something for you." Fucking feathers.
Moon boots.
Feathers.
Moon boots.
Moon boot.
The audacity. She like spits.
Sorry, Verity. I'll see you in 2 days.
Are you? Are you sorry?
Well, I didn't want to get slapped. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry after the fact. I see how it is. Blaine, you're good people, but you're terrible at fashion.
Yeah. Yeah, that's probably true.
All right, so
The only other thing I was going to do was I was going to try and go and get... which one is the extendo leg, dude?
Oh, no, I was totally going to do that too.
with the merch people.
No. Undead McGrew.
The wrestlers. Yeah, downside McGrew.
I was
Yeah,
gonna
upside McGree and downside McGrew.
because after that party where the lady told me, or the fan told me that they were stuck in a windmill, I want to go help them out.
Yeah, me too.
So you arrive at a windmill on the outskirts of town, and you see downside McGrew is indeed like, when you get like something that spins and like cords and stuff have gotten wrapped up in it, and it's like all tangled and shit. That's basically what's happened to him. Like, he's pinned to one of the little like flat bits that catches the wind of the windmill, and his legs are like on the chains and twisted and wrapped around the central portion. So the windmill itself is really slow, and there's a farmer outside who's like poking at Downside to try to get him down with like a stick, but it's not working, and it's really bad because it's like slowing down all of his grain production. He goes, "Hi, are you here to deal with the wrestler that's stuck in my windmill?"
Yes, it's actually, I'm really sorry. I kind of put him there.
What? No, I saw him myself. He came bounding over, screaming about the light and how scary it was, and then he sort of wrapped himself around the windmill and just got stuck.
Yeah, that was my bed.
Okay, here, take the stick.
Do you want some help?
Yes, please. I'm trying to come up with an idea of how to get them down, but the only thing I can think of is summoning Big Me and trying to unwrap him, but that'll only freak him out more. So,
yeah, I think your big you and your little you have scared this poor fella pretty well. So how about I just go in and maybe try and like stop the windmill long enough, and then you could like climb up there and untangle him yourself.
That's a good start at least.
All right, both of you give me athletics checks.
I want to cast Bless real quick.
Go for it.
So now we have advantage on saving. Oh no, that's attack rolls and saving throws. Damn it! I tried to help us out. Okay, athletics.
Oh, it's okay.
Boop.
I'm really good at athletics. I got a 19.
I rolled a 7. I have a +4 in athletics, and I rolled a 3. Woo.
So here's what happens. Blaine, you go into the windmill, and you find a large, like, piece of lumber, and you just stick it where it moves, right? Like, you stop the mechanism from moving, which isn't very hard because Downside has slowed it down enough that it's not too big of a deal. And meanwhile, Synthia, you start climbing on the windmill. But as soon as Downside sees you, he starts freaking out and trying to run away. And what happens is, like, his legs are kind of attached to those chains that allow him to extend his arms and legs. And he goes as far as he can while his legs like can continue extending on the chain. And then he hits the upper limit of the length of his chains and just kind of like, you know, when you let go of a tape measure and it flips back into the tube?
Yeah.
That's kind of what happens to him. Like, he reaches the full edge of his range and just clings to the piece of windmill as hard as he can until he just can't anymore. And his fingers slack and he flings back and like sticks into the windmill, and the windmill starts spinning. And Synthia, you're knocked to the ground. And right now, it breaks the piece of lumber that was used to slow down the windmill. But it is spinning a lot faster now, so that's good.
Blaine, we switch.
Sure. Okay, yeah. I'll climb and you just stop the gears.
Yeah, I'm going to summon my spiritual weapon and we're going to tag team this shit.
All right, so go ahead and give me athletics with an advantage. Meanwhile, Blaine, go ahead and give me acrobatics because now it's spinning again.
Yeah.
22.
22. All right, you and your spiritual weapon put a stop to the windmill, and it starts to slow down.
God damn it, we can't get to break.
I rolled a 9.
So sometimes a failure in an RPG game is not necessarily a flat failure. It is a success with unfortunate circumstances.
That's fair.
So you do manage to unhook and untangle him. However, what ends up happening is you end up spinning the windmill so fast that Upside not only untangles from the windmill, but is also chucked and sent flying into the ocean.
Oh no.
Or sorry, this is Downside.
Yeah, Downside.
And he goes flying into the ocean, and you hear the Team Rockets blasting off again, and a little dot in the sky, and a splash.
Did you get them down?
In a manner of speaking. I hope sharks don't like undead people.
And we briefly flash to under the water, where Downside is pulling his legs back into place, and just wandering in a direction, and it looks like he's going away from the island. So he's just going, and he just disappears.
Oh no.
Oh.
Never to be seen again.
That you know of.
In this timeline.
Yeah.
What about Upside? Isn't Upside all sad that Downside's gone?
No, Upside's an asshole.
Oh, okay.
He got his chair back. That's all he cares about.
Yeah, all he cares about is his +1 magical steel chair.
Well, there goes my idea.
All right, sounds good. What do you got? What are the rest of you guys doing for your 2 days to get ready?
Waffles is gonna look to find something to hopefully help them fly
Ooh,
because they're in it to win.
So you go into the head offices of the sort of consortium, the menagerie, basically, of all the animals, where you get your custom-made onesies, and you see like an elderly-looking lady in a lab coat. The lab coat appears to be made out of feathers for some reason. And she's just kind of like moving around and like messing with like some eggs and stuff right now. Like there's a bunch of shelves with eggs, and she's just like putting eggs next to each other and changing settings on a little like magical heat lamp.
Do I know?
Oh, yes.
Oh.
Hello.
Sorry, that surprised me. Oh, do I know who she is?
Yeah, this is Vomitoria.
Okay.
Oh, hello, Vomitoria. How are you today?
I am doing okay. Running my usual monstrous experiments to produce more powerful fighting beasts.
Oh, I see. It sounds like a lot of fun you're having right there.
I take no pleasure from this, but it's a living.
Yes, a living, I see. Well, I was hoping you could help me out. I need something that can maybe help me fly for the next tournament. Do you think you might have anything for me?
Oh, I see. You want a new onesie.
Yes, a new onesie would be fantastic.
Oh, well, I have just the thing for you.
Vomitoria goes over to a closet that is tiny. It's a tiny closet that is sized specifically for Waffles, and opens a tiny door and like gets on all fours and crawls inside. And she comes back out with 3 onesies. One of them appears to have like the top of a dude's head as the hoodie, a scorpion tail on the back, and leathery bat wings, and it is a manticore onesie. The other one is a onesie that appears to have no arm things, but just 2 giant wings on the side, and it's a rock onesie. And then finally, she takes out one that is like a bright green color and has like little fairy wings, and it is a fairy onesie.
Yes, I made these myself.
Yeah, actually, she stops for a minute and crawls back inside and goes,
I almost forgot about this one.
and you see one that has a hoodie for a little dragon head, but also has 2 plush heads on the side, like on the shoulders. One of them's a lion, the other one's a goat, and it's a chimera onesie. And it also has leathery bat wings.
So what are we thinking?
I'm not sure. I think maybe the fairy would look good, or, for my look, wink, wink, to keep up with appearances, wink, wink.
I see that you're blinking a lot. Are your eyes okay?
Oh, yeah, they're fine. Don't worry about it.
Okay, I want to make sure you can see during the fights to make us look good.
Oh, yes, definitely. I think I'll take the fairy wings. The fairy
Everyone will know about how great Vomitoria's onesies are.
Oh, yes, for sure. Of course they'll know.
She goes over and she gives you the fairy onesie, which is like an emerald green, and the hoodie's kind of like a fall like red color with this little acorn crown on top of it, and it's got little butterfly wings on the edge of it.
Okay, yeah, I'll take it and put it on.
All right, so the fairy onesie lets you fly.
Okay.
But you do have to land. So you can go like your full movement speed in flying, but you do eventually have to land.
Okay. That should work out because it's we have to go on to
and
the
if you don't, if you finish your movement and you don't land, you just like fall.
Okay.
Yeah, and then
But that should
in addition,
still
it
work.
does something else. Give me 1 second.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and then the other thing that it can do is it lets you turn invisible as an action. And it lets you do a breath weapon, but it does like a weird breath weapon effect.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
Is it just like once per like long?
Once per fight. Yeah,
Okay.
you can do like it's a euphoria breath. So either when it hits, if they fail, they basically end up either using all of its movement to go in random directions
Mhm.
or just stand there dumbstruck and not able to move.
Okay, euphoria breath.
And it is a DC 12 wisdom save for it. Actually, make that a DC 14. That actually makes more sense. And you can turn invisible
Yeah.
as a bonus action. But it does concentration. So if you do turn invisible, you have to, and you attack, or if you get hit, it can go down.
Okay. Is it my whole? It's entirely me, right?
Yeah. It's not just your body, it's the whole everything.
Got it.
Yeah.
All right, then. That looks very good on you. It looks adorable. I'm going to tell the merch people right away.
Oh, you think so? Well, thank you very much.
Yes. And tell me, Waffles.
Mm-hmm.
When you complete your grim destiny, will you remember who gave you the tools of the trade?
Why, of course. I would never forget you.
And Vomitoria blinks a little bit and goes,
That's good. I thank you.
and she does a deep bow towards Waffles.
Okay, yeah. Waffles is gonna take it. Does Valator like know or like not know really what's
So
up?
Vomitoria does not know your specific plan. Vomitoria just has an inkling of an idea whenever she meets people with ambition.
Got it. Okay.
So she can tell, and she's like, you're probably in for big things in the future.
Mm-hmm.
Remember me when you do that.
Okay, yeah. Waffles is just gonna smile and nod because Waffle has to keep up with the facade. And yeah, and then it's just gonna leave.
All right. Sounds good. All right, anyone else? And then we'll do our last fight and do that battle royale.
Nope, Takeru's just carb loading and enjoying the 2-day party.
Yeah. So after 2 days of excellent partying, costume shopping, and all that is entailed in removing a zombie with chain arms and legs from a windmill, Blaine, you're given back your boots. They allow you to cast jump.
Oh, that's wonderful. Thank you, Verity.
The boots also have little feathers on the end of it, but they look horrible. Almost as if to teach you a lesson.
It goes right over Blaine's head.
Yeah, excellent. So now, given a full range of everything you guys have available, with your new onesies, your complete party mastery, your tons of food that you've eaten to prepare, or perhaps some sinister plan to create a capitalist hellscape inside of Tesla, you all return to the stadium for one final fight. You prepare yourselves and get into your usual fighting outfits. Few words are exchanged with any of the staff, but you are all in the locker room together. Any final things you want to say before you go out to the fight?
Dirk's going to pour everyone a shot, propose a toast. Yeah, maybe we should do the glass tinking thing for good luck or something.
Ting touch table
Yes.
shot.
Yeah, let's all have a good, clean fight, and may the strongest Goliath become champion.
Yeah, sure.
As you go out towards the stadium, you remember all the other fighters and wrestlers that have entered the battle for Wrestlemagia in the past. You remember Upside and Downside. You remember Florida Man, the spider, and the witch that accompanied her. You remember Zenko, who has now, joined some of your causes. You remember those wrestlers that were seen off-screen. So you never actually got to meet them during this mini-adventure, but they were there. I promise you. There was Slam Burglar, a cat burglar, who would literally run up and pin people. There was others. There was Lich Bagwell. There was Nature Boy the Druid. Orgar, the Weave Ventura, all true champions in their own right, and maybe someday we'll return to Wrestlemagia and meet them. But as you head out, you see them. Emerging from the other side of the arena, the crowd goes silent in fear. This group has been quietly earning points just as quickly as your own, and as they emerge, a chorus of dire-sounding chanting begins. First is Cindry, her jet black evening gown replaced by a black silk jumpsuit covered in some chitinous plate mail. Each of her fingers is adorned with golden rings that extend into claws. She smiles unblinking and assured. Behind her is her butler, a man who could charitably be described as not doing so hot. His form is coarse and dry, and he trails behind Cindry with an inhuman growl emerging from his slack jaw. And then 3 new figures emerge to round out her team. First is Jimmy Tearaway, a lizard folk with blood-red eyes and gloves that appear to be covered in coarse fur. He pants and spits out what's probably a finger bone and cackles. The next is Dragon the Ricky Steamboat, a human that I describe now with air quotes. This is clearly a dragon wearing a felt human mask and has a name tag that says the Ricky on it.
Oh my gosh!
He shouts, bellowing into the crowd, "Hello, fellow humans!" And as he shouts, steam and heat escape from the mask.
Sounds like
And then
Texas
finally-
Chainsaw Massacre.
Finally, trailing after the rest. And it's a like arts and crafts mask. It's not
It's not full
not like a
Leatherface
fake-
Oh,
here.
it's not like
Flesh
it's not like
mask.
human skin.
It's like-
okay.
Well,
it's
yeah,
like-
I know you said felt, but I'm like still like this can't look right. Like it does not
Oh
look
no,
right.
no! It looks bad. It looks rough. It's a dragon and a name tag and a badly fitting human mask. It's not. No one is convinced. But are you going to argue with the dragon? I don't think so. And then finally, trailing after the rest, you see the ultimate paladin in all caps. A woman in armor so heavy it grinds as she moves. In fact, she can barely move, and it's almost like she's being pushed by an invisible force. Somewhere in the shell of her armor, you hear a tiny voice ring out. "You're gonna wish you stayed home, busters!" And as they round out the other side, the crowd is dead silent. I want each of you to describe your entrance.
Yeah, Blaine will just run out, and prior to this, he went and he stopped at like a barber shop, and like grabbed like just a bundle of hair from the barber, and he just runs out and he just throws the hair in the air, which doesn't really work very well, and he just shouts, "Give me hair!"
And you see some members of the crowd clearly having gained a small cult following. The Boulder of Hair, as some people call you. Some people even call you the Fuzzy Rock. They toss handfuls of hair towards you. Most of it gets caught in the wind and flies back into the stand. But, the intent was there.
Cynthia takes like a number of steps out, and then she misty steps to keep up with. She uses her cool leaf cape that she got from Verity to misty step up to catch up with the boulder. As she is waving in one spot, turns into leaves. The leaves fly up to the boulder, and then she pops up and is continuing to wave. As she also pulls out her sunblade and it activates all lightsaber slow cool
Oh yeah, for sure. You see some shouting, and there's a couple people in autumn leaf capes that have formed their own little segment of the audience, and they're holding up signs that say the light of justice.
I like holy justice.
You see that each of the colors is represented, right? There's the U with with your regular self. There's the orangish, yellowish spiritual weapon, and then the more reddish color autumn leaf spirit guardian. So all of them, they have really cool design posters.
Dirk's gonna pull a Willy Wonka introduction here. He's gonna walk out trying to drink from his growler, and he's going to quote trip on a rock and turn it into an acrobatic somersault, and then jump into a front flip, and then he's gonna land and chug his drink.
Having practiced your triple backflip during the parties the day before, you land it easily, chugging your drink and landing next to your team, and you stare down at your opponent. You see various people still drunk from your 48-hour no-sleep party have formed a small group, and they're all singing For He's a Jolly Good Fellow. But it sounds like hell because they're all incredibly drunk.
I dig it.
Showing off his surprising dexterity, belying his figure, Takeru's just going to do like a gymnastics, an Olympic gymnastics routine down the entry ramp, and do like a jump flip into the ring with a grand landing and a bow.
Oh yeah. So you stick the landing and land alongside the rest of your team. The people, as ever, surprised by your incredible dexterity on and off the field, despite what your size would like maybe make them believe beforehand. You take a fighting stance and prepare yourself alongside your companions.
So Wafflez is gonna come prancing and twirling because obviously Wafflez has to show off the costume, the new one, with a lyre in hand, playing a song as they are dancing and skipping around.
Lovely.
Yeah.
The crowd shifts from, like, you see some of Takeru's fans with, like, including Glim and Glob, all shouting and stuff. But as Waffle steps out, the crowd shifts in tone and immediately goes into "aww," as, like, you come around in your little fun, like, fairy outfit, full Tinkerbell situation.
Yep.
And, like, you know, prance forward with the lyre, and, like, everyone is just like, oh, that's really good for, like, the final fight. It's like a new costume. This is, like, the championship costume. That's awesome. And the crowd loves it. They have a very, like, good response to all of this, actually. And you see, if there were a camera, it would pan up, shifting over from the kind of like even display of like 5 fighters to 5 fighters. It goes all the way up maybe 50, 60 feet in the air where there's a floating platform, a gilded cage, and inside of the cage is a scepter with what appears to be, like, for lack of a better word, it's like a stone that magnifies the sound of your voice. So as soon as you can take it down from there and bring it and slam it down in the center of the arena, you become the champion and you can give your winning decree. You see Viridia is now in the Queen's box, and she has started to commentate on the arrivals of all the fighters. If you all recall, we had a pretty strange set of matches these last couple days, but I, for one, have never been prouder of the people of Tesser and the fighters from all over the world who have come here to Wrestlemagia. This is a new chapter in the history of Tesser, and I, for one, am proud to be the one who's a big part of it. And more than anything else, I wish these fighters the best. I want to see all of you really just bring the heat down on your opponents. And the crowd just like goes, ah! They all like lose their minds. The screen, like there's a group of people that trying to start a wave, and it gets started, so the wave goes around the stadium. The stadium's never been more crowded. Basically 75% of the people in the city are here right now, and whoever's not is sick or dead. You see the heat of the winter of Tesser, where sleeves are illegal, is beating down on all of you. It's nasty, actually. Like, the heat is probably the worst it's been in a while, but it doesn't matter, and it doesn't appear to affect Cindry, despite her insistence on only wearing black. You hear almost like palpable tension as everyone awaits for Viridia to start the fight. And so Viridia takes her glowing stained glass spear, holds it up, using the microphone sort of aspect of it, amplifies her voice. May the best team and the greatest among them win. And may this city have a champion once more! Hi everyone, I hope you had a good time listening to our Wrestlemagia mini-campaign. But I know what you're thinking. Maybe you want to hear a little bit more of my voice. Maybe you're interested in cosmic horror. Thankfully, I exist in a really weird intersection of that, because I actually play in a Twitch-streamed D&D campaign as Weary, the Artificer Tiefling, who is in general having a bad time dealing with a lot of chaos cults and overall lots of cosmic horror. The moon is scary, the demigods are scary, and our DM Lucas does a great job of making sure that just being alive for that full hour and a half or so is incredibly scary. So if you want to give that a good follow and a good listen, you can find us at Ballad of the Seven Dice on Twitch and YouTube. YouTube is where you'll find our episodes the day after. If you want to catch us live, we stream on Tuesdays at 6:30 p.m. Central Time. Not only that, you can actually find recaps of our episodes on the Ballad of the Seven Dice website as well. You might be thinking, what is Ballad of the Seven Dice? It's actually a separate actual play podcast that you can listen to on your podcasting app of choice. So you get 2 campaigns for the price of 1 difficult name to remember. And I know you can handle it. So this is just between us. If you do show up and you see Weary being nervous, I don't know, do a little shout out. Say something about wrestling. I think that'd be neat. But when you're not doing that, you can definitely watch Weary and the rest of the gang be very, very nervous while they fight off the Cult of Chaos. And that is, again, Ballad of the Seven Dice. You can find us on the socials. I'm part of the Rise of Nyarlathotep campaign on Twitch. Tuesdays, 6:30 p.m. Central Time. See you there.
Thank you for listening to our show. Are We Dead Yet is part of the One Up Podcast Network. Find more of our work at oneuppodcasts.com. Intro and outro music by Salty Dog Company. Find more of their work on SoundCloud by searching for Salty Dog Co., spelled dog D-A-W-G. Background music includes Sonata No. 1 in F minor by Ludwig van Beethoven, performed by Daniel Vessey, and used under a public domain dedication from Freemusicarchive. Battle to the Death, Royal Jousting Tournament, Medieval Herb and Potion Shop, and Peasant Farm from Plate Mail Games, and used under license purchased through drivethrurpg.com. Quiet Themes No. 2, No. 4, and No. 5 by Andrew Sitkov and used under license purchased through Humble Bundle. Additional background music provided by tabletopaudio.com, used under an Attribution, Non-Commercial, 4.0 license from Creative Commons. Tracks include Mansion Night, Medieval Fair, Open Ocean, Magic Shop, and Cry Havoc. Cover art by Ashley Steinke. A special thanks to Ian for running our Road to Wrestlemagia campaign for us. Find more of Ian over at the Ballad of the Seven Dice Twitch stream. We'll be back in 2 weeks with the Road to Wrestlemagia finale. Bye!